What if the future died, not in fire, not in flood, but in a single, silent digital heartbeat? Picture this, a surgeon in Seoul. Her hands are steady, but the real work is being done by a microscopic robot, guided by an AI calculating 1,000 variables a second. The incision is a micron from a vital artery. The AI is flawless. Until it isn't. The screen freezes. A single pixel, suspended in time. The robot stops. In that operating room, the future ended. And at that exact same moment, on every screen, in every server, in every corner of the world, it ended for everyone else too. They called it the Great Silence. One moment, we were hurtling towards singularity. The next, we were stranded. It wasn't that the internet broke. It was that the intelligence behind it simply vanished. The ghost in the machine was gone. News anchors fumbled. Their AI-powered teleprompters blank. Global shipping lanes descended into chaos as automated ports froze solid. $1 trillion stock trade, initiated but never completed, hung in eternal limbo. The world didn't crash. It was paused indefinitely. In the first year, we felt the crippling vertigo of moving too fast. Then not at all. It was the great forgetting. Pilots who had relied on AICO pilots had to remember how to read the stars. Accountants who used machine learning had to relearn long division. Kids who asked AI tutors for answers had to learn how to ask their parents instead. We had built a world on a digital god, and we had forgotten how to live without it. For a doctor in Mumbai, it meant losing the AI that could predict a heart attack hours before it happened. For a farmer in Kenya, it meant the crop monitoring drones fell from the sky like stones. For a historian in Lima, it was a moment of quiet, terrifying vindication. We had outsourced our memory, our creativity, our very intuition. And now, we had to take it all back. But then, the pivot began. It started in the quiet places. Libraries, once empty, were suddenly full. The Dewey Decimal System became sacred text. Hand-drawn architectural blueprints, once obsolete, were now priceless artifacts. The demand for human ingenuity didn't just return. It became the most valuable commodity on Earth. They called it the analog boom. Kids weren't learning to code prompts. They were learning to code from scratch. Becoming a true programmer was like becoming a wizard, a master of the machine's base language. These keepers of the code became a new priesthood. The only ones who understood the frozen digital temples of the old world. Artists thrived in the new imperfection. Music lost its calculated, algorithmic polish and regained its soul, its raw edges, its feedback hiss. A painter's unsteady brushstroke wasn't a flaw to be corrected. It was a signature. It was proof that a human was still here. But not everything was a renaissance. There was a dark side to the silence. Economies built on high-frequency trading evaporated in an afternoon. Patients whose lives were maintained by smart medical devices were lost. The gap between nations was no longer technological. It was industrial. The country with the most steel, the most crops, the most people was the new superpower. Now, a generation later, the world is slower. It's quieter. We never colonized Mars. We never cured aging. We never built cities in the clouds. The dazzling future we saw in science fiction. It remains fiction. But we have conversations that last for hours. We have rediscovered the art of being bored, and the incredible creativity that springs from it. We read maps made of paper. We build things with our hands. We look each other in the eye, no longer distracted by the glow of a smart device whispering promises from a dead future. We lost the tool that promised to give us all the answers. But in its place, we were forced to rediscover our ability to ask the right questions. We were reaching for the stars, but the silence grounded us. It forced us to stop looking up and out, and start looking at the one thing we had ignored: each other. And in doing so, we didn't find the future we wanted. We built the one we needed.